Anyway, I sent you a quick note on Discord, and then if you
Okay.
want to chat there,
Let me know when we're live.
very nice talking
Okay, great. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the second event of the the VRCC and the Virtual Odyssey Festival, where we're going to be talking with some of the developers of the games. So, just as a reminder, we're doing a headset giveaway. There's about 6 people entered into that. If you want to leave any feedback, that would be great. And if you want to draw any pictures, we got that. Also, the VRCC is doing a month-long game jam. The space is theme. There are no prizes, but Justin P. Barnett will review your game on a video and talk about it. So there's about 32 people entered into that right now, and that's a really great way to just enjoy building worlds. So in the VRCC world, you can see the link to that, or just go to the VRCC website. That being said, the first booth is going to be Shadowmend with Flutter. The idea here is that I would like Flutter to just kind of give a spiel about her game. We can look at the images and look at the website, and we can ask questions, give feedback, and shower her with praise for making a good game.
Oh, thank you. It's not out yet, but it will be. I don't know where to start, so I think the best thing will be if people ask me questions. Do we go over by the area, or just here is fine, right?
Yeah,
I just
let's
talk
go
here
over
to
there.
everybody?
So
Okay.
so
But
people
I don't.
can.
Okay, they can see it,
Hmm?
but maybe not. Maybe not listen, because then maybe it'll compete with my voice.
I turned the volume down.
Oh, you did. Oh, okay, good, awesome. Oh shoot.
I'm
Where's
actually
here's
looking forward to it.
Oh, good. Oh my gosh, wonderful. Oh yeah, because actually, if I stand here, you don't hear anything unless you go into the 360. Okay. All right. Oh, look, I can't believe I'm talking to people about my game. This is so fun. Okay, wonderful.
Nice.
So I've been working on this for about a year, over a year, and I'm really into environmental storytelling. So I like leaving the player to their own, exploration and their own pacing. And so what I do is I put different things in the environment to pick up, and there is a task. It's kind of almost like an escape room. You have to figure out a puzzle in order to get to the next level, which is the next part of the story. So it is a VR narrative game, so it's very based on a story, and it's a short story, probably about 15 to 20-minute game. One, because that's manageable for me as a developer, and then I can really spend a lot of time on the environments and the vibes, which is my favorite thing, and the storyline, and getting that all really tight and connected, and like you're really going through something that's cohesive. So I also see this as part of a larger idea that I have that would be where you would go into a central place, almost like a lobby, but it's single player, but you'd go into like a home base, and you would pick out what book you want to read, and this would be one of them. So this would be one of the 15 to 20-minute stories, and then would have other stories that you could pick from in, like, let's say, a little library that you can go into. So that's like my larger idea, and this would be like the first story of that. So, any questions? That's my little quick description. And the reason here, I'll just talk about when it's being released. So right now, I want to get the FPS up, of course. It's at 72 right now, but I really like it to be at 90. Before I release it to the public, but my goal is, and then there's like a couple other things I'd like to fix first before people can go through it, and I'm going to release it first on SideQuest in October, and I'd like to do it October 31st on Halloween, because in the game the flyer says that the event is on Halloween, so I thought that'd be cute to release it on the same day as the flyer in the game. So, and really I just am mostly looking for feedback. That's why I want to put it on SideQuest first, and then if there's things that I can fix before I put it on the Meta, store or something, or like, it's still App Lab, or is it going to be transitioning to something else? I don't know.
I think it's like early access.
Early access, yeah. I'll take it to like the next level after it's on SideQuest, and I can get some feedback and maybe fix some stuff before it gets even further out to more people. I think that's everything I wanted to say right now, but yeah, it's a very personal game. It's very, yeah. Oh, can I say one more thing? It's kind of cool how this idea started. I don't always tell the backstory, but I think the backstory is fun. It started one weekend. I thought it would be fun to recreate a club that no longer exists that I used to go to in the 90s. That was very kind of like where all the misfits went, and it was really fun, and it was like our go-to place. But after 30 years, it lost its lease in Chicago, and it moved, and it was a really iconic place that it used to be. And so the club in here is completely based on that. So it exists again a little bit. Yeah. So that's kind of why I like that. And the story is about memory and finding sometimes we feel sad about loss, and then how can we overcome that and be resilient through things that we remember and maybe still feel. Yeah. Okay, now that's everything.
If someone wanted to follow your project and get updates on it, where would
Thank
they
you.
find you?
That's perfect. So because I don't have like the page up yet, because I don't know if you could put a placeholder page on SideQuest. I don't think you can. I think you have to have everything ready. So my email newsletter would be the best. I send quarterly updates of everything that's going on, whether it's my game or I also have a YouTube channel. And I just do it every quarter. I send a little email to say what's going on. And so that email address, you can find my newsletter probably, I should have linked it right here, but it's definitely on my YouTube page, on the links on my YouTube page, on my about there. I should have it on here though. Oh my God, why is it not on my website? So it's Flutter VR is my YouTube user. Yeah, is my YouTube page channel. I apologize. Yeah, so I should really, oh my gosh, I'm glad I'm doing this because now I need to put the email sign up right here. Okay.
Also, I just want to let anyone know who's watching this on a recording or too far away, the website as you get closer will populate over the virtual Odyssey background, but you can't see it if you're not.
Oh, you might not see it because I'm really close. Okay.
Thank you for mentioning that.
I can move over here a little bit, as long as I don't fall off the edge. Okay, here we go. Oh, and all the music is original, by the way. My husband and I worked on that. Yeah, we have a music project together. I've done music forever, but I was also into film, and so I bring a lot of my filmic knowledge to creating this too. And that's what I love about VR. I feel like everything I wanted to do in film, I could do in VR much cheaper. At least, I guess it depends on what scale you go, but it's like doable by myself. Yeah. Yes, digital.
Maybe since you mentioned it would be a short game, did you already think about like price point? Do you have any commercial conditions? And the other question, since I'm an engineer, so can you talk very quickly about the tech that you're using?
Oh, perfect. Yes. So I'm creating this in Unity, and right now I do have controllers. So so it's just controller single player. I'm making it mostly for MetaQuest 3 because I tried it on 2 and I didn't realize that the FPS is really bad on 2. So 3 is better. And the other tech, let's see what other tech. I'm using XR Interaction Toolkit. So some of the interactions are kind of basic grab socket interactors. I was going to use voice, but I did not have success with the voice SDK, so I just abandoned that. And a lot of timed animations. So there's broken hearts that are over all this is an Easter egg, so when anyone plays this, there are broken hearts over all the characters in the club. And when you select the drink, there's a drink menu at the bar, and when you select it, it's all the hearts get healed, but then they randomly break again. And the little Easter egg is that if you run up to each character, it'll close again and heal, but then it randomly breaks again. But when they all heal together, fireworks go off. So the Easter egg is like to see if you can run around to all the characters and get them to all heal at the same time. But the bartender skeleton says you can never heal their hearts, because part of it is they're looking at, the things that are hard for them to look at, like their shadow side. And and you help them through the process of the story to heal that. I hope that answers the question. It's pretty basic Unity, XR Interaction Toolkit, that kind of tech. Yeah, because I would say I'm a designer first developer because I really started in design. So that's my strength. Development, I'm proud that I actually made a story that you can go through all the way through. I'm very proud of that by myself with the help of ChatGPT, of course. And the help of learning from Gregory and Xrterra. So I learned, you got to get the foundation. Once you have the foundation of C# and once I had that, I could read the code. I can do little interactions, like I said, like the menu, and then little things to fix, like when you get like a headset just gets reset to the floor when you get in, like just little things. There's a menu that, yeah, just closing things with code, like little code snippets I have throughout. Yeah.
Any word
Yeah.
about the price? If you prefer not
Oh,
to
and
put
price.
this on record,
Thank
it's
you.
fine.
No, that's really good. So the pricing I'm thinking right now, because this is just like a little tiny story, it's only 15, 20 minutes. I mean, like a couple bucks right now. I mean, I almost see this as a demo since it's part of it is a contained story, but I almost feel like it's a piece of this larger idea I want to do. One of my favorite game developers created, I don't know if you heard of Stillness of the Wind, and there's a new one that he just put out, The Story of You, I think is what it's called. And his price point's around, I think his game is about an hour and it's a narrative, and he's priced it at about $8. And then I was reading the comments. Some people thought that was too expensive. So I want to stay. I see this as kind of like a walkabout DLC, a couple bucks, small. But then if you were to buy the whole thing, maybe like a $15 range. I want to keep it kind of affordable for people. I thought about a subscription base, like as a new story comes out, you have another like $2 you pay for it, but yeah, that's as far as I've thought about it. Right now, I mostly want to get feedback and just maybe charge a couple dollars for my time. But I'm not looking to make a lot of money. I want more feedback and then go to the next part of this. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Thank you so much. Good questions. Anyone else? And I like your crow, HR. Irish. Hold on. What's your name? Irish Duchess.
Yeah.
I love your crow. I have a crow in the game also. I'm very into the wings and the crow. Yes, that's my vibe for sure.
A crow or a raven? Because he's supposed to be
Or
a raven.
Oh, good point. Oh my gosh. I think it looks like a raven. Yeah. Oh, that's so perfect. Of course his name is Poe. Yeah, that is definitely my vibe. So you may enjoy some of the mysteriousness of
That's why I saw that and I was like, oh, I think I even told you. I said I'm gonna like this one.
Yeah.
I think so. And it's for people that like a slower pace. Well, you can take it. You could run through it super quick if you want, but it's really so that you can kind of just like enjoy the vibe and look around and pick up things. Yeah, because that's what I'm really into. I'm really into stories like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. I gotcha.
Nice.
All right.
Okay.
Sorry, I'm pushing everyone out by walking this way.
Yeah, you're gonna get out of here. It's all
Unless
fine.
anyone had anything else, but I think I talked a lot, so that's fine.
And after we go through.
Find me anytime.
Gregory's,
seriously.
Yeah. Yeah. After we go through Gregory's, we can still talk. So.
Yeah, and find me anytime, even after today. Yeah. So yeah.
Thank you.
Rave Gazebo.
Yeah. Come follow me.
Thank you. Let's go see
Dance
Rave.
Interactive Music.
Yeah.
And thanks, Blair. I love learning about your project.
That's okay.
No, I want to try it. Basically, send me an APK or I'll buy it if you charge money. But I want to try it.
Absolutely. I always need the feedback. I'm telling you. Okay, here we go.
Come on up. Don't be shy. My name is Greg. I made
Seriously.
Rave Gazebo. Rave Gazebo is a dance interactive album in VR. The way that you interact, it's basically a set of 6 songs. Each song is basically a remixable song. So there's like six different um 6 different arrangements of a bass line, and as you like flail your arms around, it changes the music. So it's all about like moving your body. The direction that you gesture with your arms matters. It changes the music that plays. So every time I gesture up, the up sound, the up music plays. Every time I gesture down, the down music plays. And of course, in addition to that, you're like flinging these physics objects around the environment. So it was one of those things where for a really long time I thought that the music changing would be enough, but the feedback that I consistently got was like, well, why am I doing this motion that your entire app revolves around? So I was like, well, okay, you're interacting with the environment in fun and interesting ways. So a lot of it is based around like glitching things out, or for example, like I have in this one, this is song 6 called Xylitol Isomalt. You're in this disco bar and you're flinging these disco balls around, and the chairs and tables and everything are in zero gravity. And it just kind of like everything kind of gets messed up because you're just flinging these disco balls around and just completely like messes up the environment. Of course, while you're doing this, you're also changing the music. So it's sort of like a live remix engine. This is one of those things that I started this in like 2018. This concept of interactive music videos was something that I've been kind of as soon as I heard VR, I wouldn't say as soon as, but like 2 months after I learned about VR technology, what it could do, I'm like, well, I study video game music, and how can I make music that non-musicians can interact with in a way that feels meaningful, right? A lot of the music applications out there are like rhythm games where you have to like match somebody's rhythm or the music stops. And for me personally, I wanted to create an application that was like, no matter what you do, it's always correct. Whatever happens, it should sound good. So coming at it from a sort of different perspective. And so what the idea generally is you're standing in the rave gazebo. The rave gazebo is always safe. You're not going to get hurt inside the rave gazebo, no matter what physics objects kind of fling themselves around. And you just kind of gesture in different directions. So that was song 6. You're in a disco bar. In song 5, which is this one right here, you're on the Moonglade Express. You're on a train that's sailing through the galaxy. I took a lot of advantage of stencil shaders to create glitch effects. One of those things that, for those who don't know, stencil shaders are when you have a material that instead of actually rendering, it puts something in the stencil buffer, and then you can have other materials that will only render if that number's in the stencil buffer. Long story short, you can make portals. That's how you make portals, basically, visually. And so what I was doing a lot was creating these, these materials, or rather these portals that would go onto different objects. Like there's dancers in this one, where like you look through the dancer, and it's the shape of a person, but you're looking through them into a version of the disco bar that's a different color and a different size. So it's like glitching out the environment a little bit. I found that it was a lot of fun visually to create environments that like felt like they were breaking apart a little bit. And I used a bunch of stencil shaders to like really cause some fun glitch effects, because you can do a lot of fun stuff. You can put that stencil material onto any mesh. So like particles, people, like anything, stuff that bounces and stuff that moves around. Like you can put those materials and you can make it look as if you're like looking through something instead of seeing an actual object, which also makes it a lot easier to like abuse these ragdolls. You can throw stuff at them. It doesn't feel bad because they don't feel like real people, right? It's these robots right here, right? These robots are the ones that you kind of like, you throw a disco ball at it, and it goes scooch and then moves to the side a little bit, or starts flipping upside down a little bit. And so you kind of have free reign to throw things at these characters, and they don't mind. They can't talk back or complain. They're robots, or you don't even see them. Like in here, you can actually see them. In the app, most of the time they're see-through. Like this is the shape of a person that's dancing and moving around, but in a lot of cases, like you don't even see it. You're seeing through it into an alternate version of the environment, which is a lot of fun. But yeah, that's the main thing that I'm really proud of with Rave Gazebo is the fact that non-musicians can remix music live, just by dancing. It's that inverse relationship from your Guitar Hero, from your Beat Saber, where like in those apps you have to do the thing that it asks you to, or the music stops. And in mine, the music and the environment and everything around you is desperately clinging on to your every movement and then responding to it. So you get to, even if you don't know anything about music, you can just kind of dance and flail your arms around, and the music responds. The entire environment responds to what you're doing, which is what I'm super proud of for Rave Gazebo. And yeah, you can take a look at some of these screenshots. I will say, like, it's one of those things where you have to kind of see it in motion, because, well, I'm a musician, so everything was audio reactive. Everything, the actual like music system I set up so that the kick drum and the snare drum were separated from the rest of the tracks. Because when you have audio reactive visuals, especially in when it comes to VR, and if I'm not mistaken, in Banter, there's lights that are auto reactive, right? When somebody talks, I'm seeing like shadows around them or something. Is that happening to me? I saw it on Flutter. I saw it on
people are doing it.
Oh,
yeah.
They're talking and they blink or
I
something
see
when
that.
Yeah, when you talk, there's like a light that comes on behind you or something.
little, like,
But what's
purple
interesting
things.
about that kind of audio reactivity is it ends up
It's
being a
called
little bit
Europe.
noisy when you're just playing the entire track through. And VR chat has this system where it'll allow you to separate out frequencies. So low frequencies only affect one thing, and mid frequencies, high, mid, and then high. And that it's a little better, but it's still really noisy. Like basically what I ended up doing for my audio reactive visuals is I completely separated the kick drum, the low drum, and the snare drum, which is the high drum. And I had those feeding into separate tracks that all of my visuals listened to. So when you see like the video of like, stuff bouncing in the environment, they're bouncing either to the kick drum or to the snare drum, or actually what I found more important is reacting to when I gesture, right? That ended up being like way more interesting to the user, is rather than having it bounce to the music, so I want it to bounce to me. I want it to bounce when I am dancing. When I go pa, I want things to go boop, like, and do a little bit of a jump or shifting color or whatever. And that ended up being like way more interesting to users than, because I will be the first to admit the music system does lead to a little bit of chaos. And to people who've never heard this music before, it ends up being like, oh my God, I'm doing so much stuff. Like, so they don't feel like they're in control of the audio reactive visuals, but they do feel like they're in control of the stuff that gets flung out of their hands, right? And like having the animation. So like, for example, with these robots, the animation, they would have a very slow animation, and then when you gesture, they would temporarily speed up that animation, right? So it feels like they're dancing along with you, right? Every time you gesture, they speed up, so they're continuing their dance move a little bit faster every time you gesture, things like that. Playing with time scale that's under the control of the user. And so the whole idea was to try and make that gesture feel as powerful as possible, right? Like you are controlling the environment, you're shooting out lightning from your hands, you're shooting these particles, you're flinging stuff around and causing a ruckus in the environment. In this one, you're flinging this one's called Antiparticle Lobster, and you're just literally like flinging lobsters around, and every time there's these bigger lobsters that are in the environment, and if you hit them with the small lobster, they go pow, and they explode into 6 or 7 like additional lobsters that then go flying around the scene, so you can cause these kind of chain reactions of lobsters just exploding everywhere around you. So it is a bit of a chaos engine, right? It's like it's a little silly and fun, but I'm really proud of it. I worked on it for a while. I made the first one, and I was like, well, this is fun for maximum like 10 minutes. But if I made an album out of it, I'd feel a lot better charging people money for it. So I made 6. I did not end up writing all the music for it. I wrote half the music for the very first one. I wrote the music for the second one, and I had my friends write the music for the rest of them, which I'm really happy with the music that they wrote.
Awesome.
It's admittedly a little more accessible than the stuff that I write in general. But oh man, is it funky. And so I'm really happy. It's a different type of experience. And I've started porting a version of Moonglade Express, which is this one right here. I've started porting a version of it over to VR chat that I'm going to make available for free for people to try out without having to pay. And that'll be fun. I mean, it's almost done. There's just a couple of bugs left, and Flutter, as I'm sure you're aware, there's some optimization issues that you always run into with VR development, and especially when you introduce multiplayer. you have to be really careful about.
I
So like
yes,
from
I'm
an
starting to learn that.
optimization perspective,
Yeah.
like no lights in Rave Gazebo, none whatsoever. I've turned off every single light. Every single texture is either a stencil shader or unlit. So
Okay.
like
Yeah,
or
for sure.
transparent when I can get away with it, but I try and limit the amount of transparent materials that you use
That's
because
true.
that causes overdraw a lot
Yeah,
of
it
the
does.
time. But like,
Mhm.
you know, as much as possible, it's like you know, one single unlit shader and UV map everything basically. Like if you like, for example, this bar, like, but okay,
Uh-huh.
I tried optimizing the first 4 and it took a year and a half. And so by the time I got to song 5 and 6, I had learned to just buy UV mapped assets from the Unity Assets store. So
Mhm.
the train was like $10
I'm
and the
telling you.
disco bar was like $10, and it was like so worth it because I did not have to worry about actually like because it's UV mapped, it renders in one single draw call.
Yeah.
So you can make
Yeah.
copies of it, and those will be their own draw call. But like if you open up this disco, like the entire structure, all of the chairs, all of the speakers, everything is rendered from like 2 or 3 materials. So like all the stuff that you see on the shelf in the on the bar, that's like one material that they have an
Yeah.
atlas, but like almost everything else is using like, it's called color grid M, and then I have
do
a
that a
different
lot.
version that's
Yeah.
like color grid M that's in world 1 because there's using the stencil
Yeah.
shaders I can retint everything that's in the other world, which is why when you peek through these you know, these characters, or there's like portal stencils around the balls that you throw out. When you peek through them, you look at the same environment that has different colors because I've been able to really easily like recolor the entire environment because it's all UV mapped to a single texture. So because of the optimization process, I'm like, oh wow, this is actually a lot easier. I could just completely change the color of everything in one go with a separate material. So that's some fun stuff. I learned a lot about optimizing because I had to get this to run on the Quest 1 at 72 frames per second, which was a nightmare.
Oh, wow.
Oh my God. Oh my
It
God.
was
Yeah,
hard
that's a lot.
and baptism by fire for me, but I'm really proud of
For
it
real.
because
Me too.
now it's going to make it a lot easier for me to port it over to VR chat, to port
Definitely.
it over to, I mean, here, you know, this bar, by the way, behind you, that is the disco bar.
Mhm.
We've kind of re-added some of the more alcohol-themed elements, which I took out because I wanted it to be a little bit more, you know, kid-friendly, just in case, you know,
Right.
some kids wanted to, because you know who uses VR, it's kids mostly.
That's my bad.
So I wanted to make it a little more accessible. But but you
True.
know,
True.
the idea is you'd be flinging disco balls all around this. But we can even go there if you want to take a closer look.
Yeah.
I was like actually kind of excited
Yeah.
to be able to walk around because in Rave Gazebo, you get teleported back if you try and walk out of the gazebo. So I actually got to actually wander around this environment, which was kind of a nice change. But you can kind of see like you know, using the transparency. I actually went into Photoshop for these walls and I just like literally just used the erase brush and I just erased like parts of it with my mouse. You know, because they were using the walls are UV mapped. It's the same texture actually as the floors and the ceiling. It's the same texture map. So I just went into Photoshop and I just used the erase tool and I made like 6 different versions. One because you're in a box of sounds, so every time you gesture in one direction, it changes the actual walls that appear, and they're all pulsing to the beat. Everything is audio reactive. You get like everything like, you know, is attached to the kick and snare. And of course, I put a whole. I mean, like, yeah, I put a lot of textures and fun stuff that would not necessarily be optimized in a multiplayer setting, which is why I understand why we only have the structure here. But like, you know, being able to like all the lights pulse to the beat when you gesture, you know, the speakers bounce to the music, you know, it's a very fun environment to be in, and I'm really happy with it. This thing pulses to basically as many things as possible are bouncing,
Are moving.
because
Yeah.
that's kind of the type of when you are a musician who is learning how to do visuals for the first time, you want to attach everything to music. So that's kind of what the actual vibe ends up being in Rave Gazebos. There's just a ton of everything bouncing. So it's a little bit chaotic, but I kind of like that, and it's a lot of fun to just kind of cause a little bit of chaos by flinging disco balls everywhere. Any questions? I can talk about this forever, but any questions? Go ahead.
Is it just your hand? Like, we can't use our feet or anything unless.
I mean, you
And I
can
don't-
tape a controller to your feet and it'll work.
Oh,
what
cool.
about if you're in like
But
full
Rave
body?
Gazebo doesn't naturally, you can't like put in your own accessories. It's just head and hands. But literally, what I'm saying though is you could, like, all it doesn't use any buttons per se, except for like menuing. So the actual experience where you're dancing, you could technically just like tape a controller to your feet and kick and have it respond. I put a controller onto. You guys know Boston Dynamics? They have a robot dog called Spot.
Yeah.
I literally taped a controller onto Spot the robot dog and then had Spot play Rave Gazebo because all it uses is velocity and direction of the controller. So I just kind of had Spot spinning in circles playing Rave Gazebo. It's hilarious. I have a video of it on Instagram. But no, not natively is there support for feet controllers and trackers. But technically the technology wouldn't be too far of a stretch necessarily to make that work. But I just didn't really feel the need because accessories are not everybody has them. So
Right.
but yeah. Any other questions?
Sounds great.
Thank you.
All right.
Now move on.
Let's step outside because there is music.
That's true, it's true. And it's the wrong music. It's the wrong music for the level, but I wasn't gonna say anything. It's fine, it's fine. I didn't even give you the correct music, so it's not even your fault. It's just
hard.
in my head, it's breaking it.
Right.
Yeah, I think like as a first event, like the Virtual Odyssey Festival, I think that this is going pretty well, but I think that there's 1,000 things I could do better to make it more immersive, actually having events, panels. This is kind of the only real event that's happening during this.
Okay.
But I think it's pretty good, and I wanted to thank Flutter and Gregory for coming and
Thank you.
talking about their games.
Thank you.
As like a festival,
Thank you.
I think that's the benefit. Like, yes, we have a store, and I'm trying to sell you these games. I did sell someone the show VR yesterday. It was great. I was so happy. So they were just like bought it on the spot. But also the community involved with a festival. Every time you go and buy a VR game, you don't know who the developers are. You don't know what their personality is. They're just a blank face. So having something like this where we can actually talk to each other is great. And we don't even have to travel to a convention center halfway across the world to do that. So thank you for coming. And for those of you who are watching later on, I hope to see you guys at the next one. So maybe a year from now, maybe 6 months. Who knows?
Right.
Thank you so much for arranging this. It's great. And thank you.
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
presenters.
Thank you.
Gregory, when is your game coming out?
Thank you.
Oh, it's out. It's out on
This is
Steam
out.
and
Mine's the
and
only
App
one
Lab.
that's not.
Okay, right.
It
I
is
think I'm the
$15.
only one. I think I'm the
Okay.
only one that's not.
No,
I'm so close.
Dodge All. The last one, Dodge All, is
Uh-huh.
also not. It's pending review at the Meta store right now. And they're just